My name is Janice McNabb and I'm head of MA Artistic Research. The programme that we support is basically a fine art programme. It's designed for artists, but its particular take as an artistic research programme is that we're interested in people whose work entangles with contemporary urgencies, who want to investigate things that are going on in the world and have a material artistic response and engagement with the world.
Within our community, as artistic research community, which I guess we could call it that way, I feel there's an emphasis on curiosity and maybe on also looking out into the world, seeing what happens around you, having questions about that, and the way we translate or transform or try to relate to those things through making. I think that's always been central at the MAR. We talk a lot about those things, but actually in the end it's always the work that we make that is central. And that is sort of departure point also for discussion and exchange and sharing knowledge and insights within our community.
Today we're at the National Library looking at special collections that were selected by Year 2 students that are feeding their graduation research projects. For the Masters in Artistic Research, it's important to see source material not just through the lens of the scholarly or the bibliographic, but to see it in all its dimensions: material, aesthetic, formal, to see basically information living as materials that can be accessed not through traditional academic means or methodologies, but also through very transversal ways of knowing.
Our program is a single 2-year educational arc in which a studio-based practice is supported through a lot of individual studio support and through a system of research days where we go out and see how other people are engaging in research across the sciences and the arts, when we go and visit particularly interesting archives that might be less accessible to young artists, and also have days out just looking at things, engaging in different methods of research. This is then supported by a heavy theoretical program, interesting theoretical program, which in first years has reading days, and that matures into the personal thesis in the second year. We have a lot of guest artists, and we always have an exhibition in the spring at some point, somewhere in the city of The Hague. So taking ongoing practice out into the city as a kind of register with our immediate community, and as professional practice. What does it mean to bring your work to fruition in a way that an external community can engage with it?
So the thesis is a written document that usually relates to a main concern or question you have in your practice. But it's also really a tool to discover new perspectives or new insights about that main concern that you have through writing. I tend to see writing really as a tool, as a sort of generative tool, rather than just forming a document of what you already know, to see how through the process of writing your thesis, how you can actually get to new knowledge or to new understanding of things that you had vague ideas about before. And at some point they start to clarify.
For me, it's very important for students to have hands-on actual practices, both in the workshops at the KABK, the extraordinary workshops and resources at the KABK, but also outside in The Hague and hopefully in other parts of the Netherlands. And today is a perfect example, which for me combines sort of the applied artistic perspective of the students looking at individual requests in the library, but where that serves as the starting point for then discussions in the classroom, which we will have, for example, later today.
Master Artistic Research is a small community, however, so working in a group with your peers will be an important part of the learning that you will do. We have a really dedicated teaching team who all have researching practices of their own, and we share these with students at the beginning of every year. So at the start of the year in September, we always come together with We Are a Research Community, which is a week of days in which the teaching staff and the students together all share what they do. And we mind map and find different ways to pull out the commonalities that we will be sharing over the course of the year, and this helps us to talk to each other. So although the teaching is very important, learning from each other, talking to each other is a core part of one of these small dedicated MA programs that we have here at the KABK.